back to the Smithsonian Institute for them to display. Well, he gets home and he finds out that there are people that are really interested in him still being in politics. He's been gone a year. And progressive Republicans decided they wanted him to run for the presidency again. Progressive Republicans. But we have a Republican Party and we have a Democratic Party. So if he isn't going to run for the Republican Party nomination, if he decides, he's going to have to run for a third party, right? So what happens is he comes back and they talk to him and he decides, yeah, I'll run for president, but he wouldn't run for the Republican Party. He ran on a newly formed Bull Moose Party. Okay? So you're going to have a Republican candidate in the election of 1912. You're going to have a Democratic candidate in the election of 1912. And you're going to have a candidate, Theodore Roosevelt, who will be running for the newly formed Bull Moose Party.
Wait, which one is he up there?
Roosevelt?
Okay. Is there ever a president that gets in with like an underdog party like the Bull Moose Party, or is that?
Very seldom. Usually what happens when a third party comes in. They split votes. And usually the underdog of the main two parties wins. We've talked about that before. Bill Clinton, when he ran against George H. Bush and Ross Perot was in the election, was huge, made a big difference. Now, the reason they call it the Bull Moose Party is because the reporter asked Roosevelt, boy, you know, you're going to run for president again, you're getting a little older, how you feeling? He said, I'm feeling stronger than a bull moose. And that's where the party name came from. So, Roosevelt's going to run for the presidency in 1912. He's going to be a member of the newly formed Bull Moose Party. And the party got its name when a reporter asked Roosevelt how he felt one day, and his answer was, I feel as strong as a bull moose. So here are the candidates in the election of 1912. For the Democratic Party, Governor Woodrow Wilson of New Jersey, on your ID sheet. So running from the Democrats will be Governor Woodrow Wilson of New Jersey. Now, who is going to run for the Republicans? Come on. No, he's going to run for re-election. President Taft. So for the Democratic Party, you're going to have Woodrow Wilson, who's the governor of New Jersey. For the Republican Party, you're going to have President Taft. And you're actually going to have another party come in, the Socialist Party. The Socialist Party.
Is that like socialism? Like
Yeah, same philosophy. The Socialist Party, and they nominated Eugene V. Debs as their candidate.
So there's actually four.
So there's four. Yep, there's a Republican Party with President Taft running for re-election. Democratic Party, Governor Woodrow Wilson of New Jersey. The Socialist Party, Eugene V. Debs. And then you're going to have the Bull Moose Party with former President Roosevelt. Four people running for the presidency in 1912. Well, on October 14th, 1912, during the campaign, Roosevelt was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin to give a speech. On October 14th, 1912, during the presidential campaign, Bull Moose Party candidate Theodore Roosevelt was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he was getting ready to give a speech. Well, Roosevelt was standing in the back of a convertible during kind of a little parade on the way to his speech, and a saloon keeper by the name of John N. Schrank tried to assassinate Roosevelt, shot at him. So as he was riding in an open convertible, standing in that convertible on his way to the speech in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a saloon keeper by the name of John N. Schrank tried to assassinate Roosevelt, shot at him, okay, as he stood in the convertible. Well, I'll tell you what, the bullet actually hit Roosevelt.
He survived though.
Why?
Because he did hit you vital organs.
It's a damn good thing he was nearsighted. Nearsighted because he had a glasses case in his pocket. Really, and the bullet deflected off of his glasses case, saved his life. Okay, so the glasses case in Roosevelt's pocket deflected the bullet, saved his life. What did Roosevelt do? What was he scheduled to do? Yeah, so what he does is he coughs a few times, because if you were shot and had a bullet in you, you would cough up blood, right? So he coughed a few times to make sure he wasn't hit, and he went on and gave a 90-minute speech in Milwaukee after being shot. Pretty crazy.
What happened to his attempted assassination?
I'll tell you that, good question. So, Roosevelt, after being shot, coughed to make sure he's not spitting up blood. Then with the bullet still in his chest, because it actually deflected off of his glasses case and lodged in his chest, just not enough to hurt him. Gave the speech, 90-minute speech with the bullet in his chest.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah? Obviously not fatal, but it certainly saved his life, because if that glasses case isn't there, that bullet penetrates and probably kills him. Well, he left the speech and went to a local hospital and had the bullet removed. Tough old bird, wasn't he? But it wasn't a serious wound, you see what I mean, because of the deflection, but the bullet was underneath the skin.
Wait, did like the media cover that or anything?
Yeah, but this wasn't as big a deal in those days.
No, I mean like that might have been helping the election.
Yeah. Well, it took him 2 weeks. It took Roosevelt, it was serious enough, it took him 2 weeks to recover from the wound. I mean, he had to heal up, but he wasn't ever life-threatening. And his attempted assassin, John Schrank, was committed to a mental institute. So, that's what happened there. So, getting back to the election. As I mentioned before, one of you said that, the problem with having 4 different parties in election is the Bull Moose Party, who was involved with progressive Republicans, split the vote. So most Republicans, and I think I've told you this before, in an election, Democrats make up about 25% of our country, so if you're going to win elections as a Democrat, you've got to get your 25% and then 50% of the other vote, okay? Well, what happens is all the progressive Republicans voted for Roosevelt, all the non-progressive Republicans voted for Taft, and what happened is it split the vote so bad that the Democratic candidate, Woodrow Wilson, was elected president. Okay? So, because of the enormous split in the Republican Party, Governor Woodrow Wilson of New Jersey cruised to victory and became the nation's 28th president, right here.
Did the Socialist Party even get any votes?
Not many, no, it was kind of a brutal deal. So, we'll continue on here and tell you what Roosevelt did after losing this election, because we're still in the profile.
Did you get squares and drums?
After the election of 1912, Roosevelt took another trip, and this time he went to Brazil with his son. He went to Brazil with his son after the loss in the election of 1912. And they were actually looking for the mysterious River of Doubt. River of Doubt. There was supposedly this great river in Brazil called the River of Doubt. Kind of a mystery, legend. So he and his son went looking for the River of Doubt, and unfortunately for the Roosevelts, they did not find it.
What was so mystical about it?
Well, I don't know if it ever existed. They were curious. Well, this was kind of a hard expedition. This guy was getting up in age, and he came home after this expedition trying to find the River of Doubt 55 pounds lighter than he was when he left. He lost 55 pounds in this expedition to try to find the River of Doubt. So the expedition was pretty hard on Roosevelt's health. He arrived back home in the United States 55 pounds lighter than when he had left. Well, when he got back, the Republicans were trying to get him to run again in 1916. He was that popular. Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen because he died of a blood clot in the heart on January 6th, 1919, at the age of 60.
That's not bad.
So it did not happen. He died unexpectedly of a blood clot.
He died old for the times.
His health was just too bad, is my point. If he didn't die, that didn't keep him from running, but his health kept him from running. And he eventually died on January 6, 1919, at the age of 60. He was buried in New York, near his home, which was referred to in history as Sagamore Hill, which is on your ID sheet. So after returning from Brazil, his health was not good. He was looked at a possible candidate in the election of 1916. His health was too bad to consider it. He ended up dying of a blood clot in the heart on January 6, 1919, at the age of 60. Was buried in New York, near his home, which is referred to as Sagamore Hill.
What happened to his family after that?
What's his significance? What is his monument to history? You should know this.
Panama.
No, you should know this, South Dakota boy. What's one of the great honors he received in his life after the presidency?
National Park.
South Dakota fellow.
No, is it Mount?
He's
Mount
one
Rushmore?
of one of 4 presidents
Yeah.
whose faces are embodied on Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore. So that's a big honor. So he is one of the 4 faces on the famous Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. Okay, we're gonna move on real quick, like, now we're gonna stop. You're gonna have a quiz on this, we're gonna meet out there tomorrow, okay? I'm not gonna tell you what's gonna be on the quiz, okay? It's gonna be 50 points tomorrow. We'll meet out in the column. There will be extra credit, yep.
Make it 350 points.
It'll be very